Looks like we have a signal. Yes!
Yes! Doesn't count and just press the button though.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes! Round 2 for the Tesseract bracket, where both Nay and Josh will be optimizing the builds that they created during the first round. They have 30 minutes and whoever has the better benchmark wins. All right guys, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, and go! So personally for me, I've actually never done overclocking, but with the new Intel 14th Gen chips, they make it easier. So back then, I know, it's just one click now and you can overclock.
For our editing, we've overclocked our CPUs a couple times with Intel's new software. Makes it super easy to do. Yeah.
So overclocking is when you run your processor at a much higher clock speed as opposed to the stock clock speed. And what that usually entails is that your processor can perform even better. I'll leave you to it. Good luck with your benchmarks. Let's move on over here to Josh. Hi Josh, how are you?
Welcome. Kind of interested to see how things go today because yesterday, even though I managed to get the PC to post, I didn't have time to add all the front fans. So currently, I'm probably gonna maybe struggle on thermals a little bit, so that's something we may have to also optimize as well.
Even though I didn't win the first round, I was pretty confident that I could probably win the second round because when I looked over at Josh's PC, what did I see? He didn't have any of his fans plugged in on the front, so he wasn't gonna be pulling any air in, so when it came to performance, he'd probably have pretty bad temperatures. And I also noticed that he didn't even plug in all of his RGB cables, so I feel like I should get more brownie points because when the whole first round was done, I had a fully functional PC with the RGB, all the fans, and everything.
So even though round 1 was so incredibly close, there was actually quite a big difference between mine and Nay's system because Nay had managed to, I would say, properly build her PC. So she had all of her fans in, everything was where it should be. I, on the other hand, had a slightly bare bones looking PC. I was missing my front fans. So even though we had the same amount of time in round 2 to do all the overclocking, that was something that I was thinking about. So first thing I'm going to do is hop into the BIOS, make sure to get XMP enabled.
Intel has XMP, which is Extreme Memory Profile, which allows you to overclock your RAM. Nay, what are you doing first?
I think I'll pop into the BIOS. I need to change some of the fan curves on the AIO, and then also need to enable XMP on the RAM.
So for this round, we are not allowing our modders to use the AI assist that Intel has over at their Extreme Tuning utility. That's because it's gonna make things too quick, too easy for them. Of course, we wanna give them a challenge. But to talk more about the Extreme Tuning utility, let's head on over to Josh. So we're at XCU right now. What are you doing? You can't use AI Assist, by the way.
I know, but if I was going to use it, here's what I'd do. So over on the side, we have the new AI Assist tab, which if you have a 14900K, you'll have this option. And we have a little button that says Characterize. Now, if I press this, it will use AI and a bunch of fancy stuff to scan the system and give us some overclock values that will hopefully be suitable. So very easy to use, especially for people who are maybe not comfortable doing manual overclocking.
Such as myself.
Yeah, so...
And for beginners as well.
Yeah, and for beginners as well. So yeah, if you wanted to squeeze out a little bit of extra performance, then this is a great and easy and hands-off way to do it. Bam! Okay. We have our results here, so you can
So what does it say?
So it's changed our active performance cores from 60 multiplier to 61, and if we scroll down, you can basically see all these numbers have gone up in value, which means faster.
Oh, interesting. And all you have to do is press the apply button, right?
Yeah, click apply and you're all ready to go.
But you can't do that.
I know,
I'm gonna do that for this round.
So I've gone into my BIOS, I've enabled XMP so we can get the RAM going. I've also changed all the performance for my fans, including for the Lian Li and the AIO, so that they're at
What did
top
you change
performance.
them to?
Just the adjustment curves of them so that they're going at full performance, help with airflow and stuff. So now I'm going to go into MSI Afterburner and I'm going to start overclocking the core clock and the memory and see what I can do on the GPU.
We've got a little over 10 minutes left on the clock.
So we're just in the BIOS at the moment, just making sure everything is enabled that should be. I got resizable bar here, so we're gonna make sure that's enabled.
Okay, so what's the resizable bar?
So basically the CPU can only usually access a small amount of VRAM buffer at once. So by enabling this, it basically allows it to be access the entire VRAM on the GPU, which is gonna give us more performance, especially in things like gaming.
Oh, so like more frames per second?
Yeah, right, yeah, so and hopefully that should help with the benchmarks as well.
All right, we have 10 seconds left on the clock, you guys. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands up, hands up. All right, we are done with round 2. Both Nay and Josh are done overclocking their builds, which they built in round 1. So let's go ahead and check out their benchmarks, shall we? Ladies first. Hi, Nay. What score did you get?
So on our first benchmark on that 3D Mark, we've got 21,515. And then on Geekbench, on the single core, we got 3134, and on the multi-core, we got 20367.
All right, well, good luck. Now let's go ahead and check out Josh's score. What's up, Josh? What do you have for me?
All right, so for 3D Mark, we got a total score of 20,688. We head over to the Geekbench results now. So on the single core, we got 2985, multi-core 19808.
So let's take a look at the final scores. All right, and it seems like we have a clear winner. Congratulations to Nay. You are going to be moving on to the finale.
When the final numbers came in and I found out that I won at the end, I was actually really surprised because I wasn't expecting that. I thought Josh was actually going to come out ahead, but you know, probably because of those fans on the front of his case.
Next up, we have the Liquid House bracket. Who's going to win between Ellie and John? Second round, second bracket. Liquid House will be getting their hands dirty by overclocking the builds that they did for the first round. They have 30 minutes. Let's go ahead and get it started. In 3, 2, 1, go! All right, John, how's it looking?
Good. So what we decided to do, I think Ellie's doing the same thing, is being that we did the first speed build round outside of the case, it kind of translates well into the performance side of things because you don't have restrictive case panels and stuff like that. So
it's, all that heat is not compact
exactly,
inside, right?
Yeah. We've got full open air. You know, we've got the AIO breathing freely. We've got nothing restricting it. Same with the GPU. So theoretically, the benchmarks that we get, especially when we start overclocking, they should be able to scale really well because we don't have any sort of temperature issues.
Now, when it comes to the overclocking, what exactly are you doing? Because you're not allowed to use AI assist, which you know is still convenient if especially your
like
first
almost
time.
too easy. Yeah.
Yes, it's almost too easy, but we're not gonna make it too easy for you guys. So what exactly what are you doing?
Well, there are a few programs you can use where you can still overclock from within the desktop OS itself, but a bit of more of an old school overclocker, and most old school overclockers go from the BIOS, so the board's firmware itself. That way, if we have any overclocking issues, if it's not stable, it might not post or get into the OS. So any sort of in real-time overclocking that software does within the OS, it works great, especially with XTU, but every now and then if you wanted to apply an overclock setting that might have been too aggressive, you might apply it and instantly crash your OS. And you don't really know the kind of changes that might have attributed to that crash. And so that's why we kind of like go in from the BIOS, because we do one step at a time. We do a little bit of A/B testing. We'll say, okay, let's try upping the wattage on the CPU. Okay, we'll restart, run a benchmark just on that. Okay, didn't crash. Now let's try overclocking the RAM. And then we'll do that as a second run. And so it's a little bit by little bit. It's kind of trial and error, but you know, the time spent can net into a really nicely fine-tuned system that will last you years.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll leave you to it. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's move on to Ellie. Ellie, how's it doing? Have you done overclocking before?
Actually, I'm not. I am very new to this. I am mainly an aesthetic builder, so this is kind of interesting, but obviously it's fun. I know that we can't use the AI tools, so we're doing a little bit more traditionally this way. So yeah, I'm just getting this CPU to stretch its legs right now to see what we can do with it.
All right, well, good luck.
Thank you so much.
So what I am doing is I am on MSI Afterburner. It's their overclocking utility for GPUs, which you can use on obviously non-MSI GPUs as well. And so what I'm doing is I'm applying an overclock on the GPU, and I'm about to run TimeSpy 3D Mark. And so being that Time Spy uses the GPU as well, we might as well throw as much performance as we can. So I overclocked the GPU, did a manual fan curve on it so temps aren't an issue. I also did the same thing on IQ. So the AIO pump's running at max RPM on the pump.
Okay.
The fans are running at max RPM. So cooling on the CPU side is as high as it can get, and GPU side can be high as it can get. And so we're gonna run Time Spy and see what kind of scores we can get.
Remember, you only have to get a better score than Ellie. There's no baseline benchmark going on here, so fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Now let's see how Ellie's doing.
So I just changed the fan speeds on the AIO as well as the pump. So we'll see if these clock speeds can get any better.
You're sporting a 2-fan radiator
Yep.
while John is sporting a 3-fan radiator.
And that's
so
a disadvantage
that
for me.
is a disadvantage for you because like John will definitely have an edge over the cooling side
Yeah,
of that.
absolutely. I'm obviously have that disadvantage running the 240 right here, but you know, we're just gonna see what we can do and hope for the best, and maybe the computer gods will be on my side this time around.
Maybe. Well, are you ready to move on to the finale to
I
get
am.
better scores?
Yes, let's do this. I'm gonna go in here, go in the BIOS, and see if I can and do my final benchmark. So.
You know, Ellie, one tactic that she had used was using a 240 AIO rather than a 360 IO. It made a lot of sense to me right off the rip because it's less stuff you have to worry about. There's less fans you have to wire up. However, when it comes to the performance thing, I think Ellie might have shot herself in the foot with the 240 AIO rather than the 360. So I feel like I might have an edge on in the temperature aspect of things.
Having that extra cooling space capacity would have really helped me performance-wise, but it was not something that I considered going into that first round because I really just wanted to be able to save some time.
Time Spy is running right now. It just started, and then I got to do Geek Bunch after that, but I wanted to get Time Spy out of the way.
But you're locking in this score already.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And I guess you worked fast because you didn't really have to deal with a lot of fans from like having to install fans in the case. You just had to deal with the fans of the AIO.
Yeah, because really, I mean, the AIO is cooling the CPU, right? And we've got the GPU in the open air as well, so I don't have to worry about any sort of airflow configuration with the case, being that we're all out in the open air. So whatever score we get, I mean, hopefully, you know, it'll be higher than Ellie's. so we'll see. She does know her way around BIOS, so we'll see what kind of tricks she may have up her sleeve. I'm not going to do anything crazy because I'm feeling really confident with that 360 AIO, which is why I chose it in the first place, but I guess we'll see what happens.
So John and Ellie are both done. They have their scores in, so let's check it out and figure out who won the second round. All right, John, give it to me.
Okay, so with Time Spy 3D Mark score, we hit 22,825.
It's pretty good.
It's not so bad, yeah, I'm actually pretty stoked about it. Single core score for Geekbench 6, we hit single core score of 2,975. I was kind of hoping to get past 3,000. I don't know why. I think it might have been throttling a little bit, but that's okay. And then multi-core score, we hit 20,975. So hopefully, I mean, that's as good as we can get on this one.
Hopefully your average is higher than Ellie's.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see.
Okay, all right. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Ellie, do you have your scores ready for me?
I do, and I also want to mention, because I did talk about it last time, so I pulled a little trick out of my sleeve to see if I could buy myself some better temps. So
To adjust to the AIO.
yeah, because
Okay.
I am running a 240. That does put me at a disadvantage, obviously, against my competition. So what I did is I lowered the standard voltage for the CPU itself to see if I could get those better temps. And I think that I achieved what I was looking for because if I remember correctly, I think my score might be higher than John's.
Oh, what's your score?
So my 3D mark, I'm at 22,833.
It's higher than yours.
No!
Just barely higher than John's.
That's so
barely
close.
Literally just barely higher than John's.
So
but
like-
I heard him say that he wanted the single core to break 3,000, and I broke 3,000.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh my
3,186.
goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your final score?
And then multi-core score is 20,713. So I'm actually really impressed. I don't have any answer other than maybe my trick worked. But yeah, I guess I'm not gonna ask any questions. I'm just gonna accept it.
just accept it, like and celebrate
Yeah.
in the high score. All right, well, thank
Awesome.
you, Ellie.
Thank you. This is really cool. When he said that my score was higher than his, honestly, I was completely shocked, but I was excited and I felt like the computer gods were on my side.
All right, so we have our winner from the Liquid House bracket. Congratulations to Ellie, who will be moving on to the finale, going up against Nay from Tech Tesseract. we're going to be having a Femme Fatale finale. Good luck, ladies. Wow, okay, this is a lot. Tech, Tesseract, and Liquid House are officially done with their builds, and I can't wait to show you guys what they've created because they are both so beautiful.